Massachusetts has long been a beacon for history and a center for innovation. Our landscapes in many ways are unmatched. From mountaintop to seashore, we are filled with natural beauty. Beauty that in a changing climate could be threatened. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll take a trip to the ocean to investigate its role in our climate and some cutting-edge research on the world's largest mammals using drones. We'll also head to the hills to celebrate 50 years of New England's largest battery, while another Massachusetts company is about to commercialize the world's first liquid metal battery. We talk to a team giving a voice to the silent and another team with plans straight from a Hollywood script. All that and more in WBZ's Eye on Earth Climate Special. Welcome to WBZ's Eye on Earth Climate Special. I'm meteorologist Jacob Wycoff. The world is warming. For us on land, we have the ability to adapt. That may mean moving our homes away from vulnerable spots or building seawalls to hold back water. We also may need to change the way we grow food or conserve water. But for animals, adaptation takes place over thousands of years. That's why understanding them now is more important than ever before. Ocean Alliance, a Gloucester-based nonprofit, is doing just that, using cutting-edge technology, using drones in the sky. Ian Kerr is on the hunt for the largest mammals on the planet. He's head of Ocean Alliance, where they're taking whale conservation
3, 2, 1.
to new heights using drones.
We can look at the animal's behavior, we can measure how big they are, we can collect their exhalations. So one affordable tool is doing many jobs now.
Kerr and his team have been working with drones since 2013. Recently, they began collecting exhaled breath condensation, aka whale snot. It's a biological jackpot with DNA, microbiomes, and hormones. Data that, until a few years ago, would be nearly impossible to collect from a live whale.
If you get up in the air, suddenly you can see how they're interacting, how they're feeding, how they're playing. I have seen more unique behaviors from a drone in the last 5 years than I've seen in the previous 25.
In fact, just a few months ago, for the first time ever, their Snotbot drone dropped a video data tag on the back of a whale.
Unbelievable. I mean, journeying on the back of a whale as it's feeding, listening to the sounds, I mean, oh my gosh. We're really journeying into the abyss with the whales, understanding how they live their lives.
Is the research you're doing inherently harder because you have to be in the water and under the water in some cases?
We look out over here, we have no idea what's going on underwater right now. And that's what's so great about some of the work that we're doing. I think it's quite innovative, and we're really getting better insights into the underwater lives of whales.
Whales and other marine mammals are facing human threats almost daily through pollution, ship strikes, and entanglements. Why are efforts like Ocean Alliance so important?
And we like to say, healthy whales, healthy oceans, healthy humans. I'm in this because I'm fascinated by and I love whales. But at the end of the day, humanity needs to care about our oceans. You know, the blood that flows through this planet is blue. You know, it's one of the most important sort of ecosystems on the planet.
The research Ocean Alliance is doing is helping us to understand just how much time whales are spending in the middle layer of our ocean. That's a layer that has been neglected by scientists for so long, and that's where our travels take us to next. Submitted for your approval, a story of water, the depths and mysteries as vast as space, where more is unknown than understood. A place where light and shadow meet, the layer in which creatures are straight out of your imagination. Next stop, the Ocean Twilight Zone.
It's deep down, it's dark, it's cold, it's under really high pressures. It looks pitch black. And To human eyes, we would see nothing.
The only light from bioluminescent creatures. A flash here, a glow there. This foreign world in the middle of the deep sea, called the Ocean Twilight Zone.
Are you recording now?
Heidi Sosik is the lead scientist for Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute's Ocean Twilight Zone project.
The Ocean Twilight Zone is full of a diversity of amazing life, that many forms that most people have never seen, from specialized bacteria through amazing fish that have adaptations to live in a place where it's hard to get food and it's really dark. We also know now that many top predators, things like whales and sharks that we're used to thinking about living in the upper ocean, they actually spend a lot of time deep down in the Twilight Zone.
In the past, scientists were only concerned with the top and bottom of the ocean. They've only recently started unlocking the significance of this gateway to deeper waters.
The more we're learning about it, the more we understand that it plays a big role in these global processes. Water cycles, the nutrient cycles, the carbon cycles.
2 out of every 3 breaths you and I take come from the ocean, and the ocean contains a huge amount of carbon, storing almost 50 times more than the atmosphere. Getting carbon into the abyss keeps it sequestered for thousands of years and out of our atmosphere. This process starts with a bunch of hungry animals feasting on phytoplankton at the surface. Ken Bessler, a senior scientist on this project, says,
they come up at nighttime to feed on that plant matter and carry that carbon down with them. Actually, it's the largest migration on this planet. Trillions of these small, tiny animals, the fish that eat them, move up and down every day.
This is the ocean carbon cycle at work. To get the carbon to the bottom, those animals, well, they've gotta go to the bathroom. The result looks like a blizzard.
All of that material becomes what we call marine snow, this kind of distributed rainfall of organic debris, carbon really based material that settles slowly to the deep ocean.
Up to 3.6 billion metric tons.
It's a big number. It's about what comes out of U.S. vehicles, cars and things in this country.
A recent study estimated there could be 10 times the amount of animals and organisms in this layer than previously thought.
It really is one of the last frontiers. And amazingly, in some ways we know less about our own ocean than we know about the moon or Mars.
More animals, more feasting, more marine snow, and more evidence that understanding the Ocean Twilight Zone will give us a clearer picture of our climate future on land.
Every time we make a measurement, every time we go out and observe the ocean, we learn something new.
Coming up after the break, bringing back an extinct animal from the Pleistocene, a Harvard professor's mission on giving the woolly mammoth life again, and how it's all tied in to combating climate change.
WBZ's Eye on Earth is brought to you by Safety Insurance. We'll help you manage life's storms.
Science fiction meeting reality. A Texas-based company and a Harvard professor are trying to bring back a massive extinct species to once again roam the Earth. It sounds like a certain prehistoric movie franchise, but this time it has a climate change twist. Decades after Jurassic Park hit bookshelves and movie screens, a Texas company is working to resurrect not dinosaurs, but woolly mammoths.
I just fell in love with the idea of the project.
Ben Lamb, the CEO of Colossal, is teaming up with renowned Harvard scientist George Church to bring mammoths back to life.
And I reached out to George Church at Harvard University. His passion and his voice changed completely when he started talking about de-extinction and the mammoth.
Lamb says there aren't any scientific barriers in what they are trying to do.
Over the last decade, humanity has made significant advances in understanding DNA.
For the first part, we actually have a sequenced genomes of various mammoths of DNA that's been collected over the years. And that process is really to kind of understand the genome and how it relates to its closest phylogenetic relative, being the Asian elephant. The Asian elephant is actually about 99.6% genetically identical to the woolly mammoth.
And all of that gene splicing and dicing will be done by something called CRISPR, a revolutionary editing tool for genomes. Lamb says the real challenge will be gestation.
We can leverage surrogacy. We prefer ex utero development. And so we're about 4 to 6 years away from our first calves.
Colossal claims the reason behind this gargantuan mission is to combat climate change. And they already have a plot of land picked out for the mammoths in Siberia.
You can actually lower the temperature of the permafrost from anywhere from half a degree all the way up to nearly 10 degrees.
Trees breathe in carbon dioxide and release oxygen back into the air. But in this case, the mammoths would actually knock down the trees, creating more spots for grasslands. Grasslands are pretty good at storing carbon in their roots. The elephant-like creatures would then pack the snow deeper, acting as an insulator. All of this to help prevent the melting of permafrost, which releases harmful greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Still, the big question, is bringing back an extinct species really a good idea?
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
We are in the world of synthetic biology, right? Like, these tools exist. It's hard to kind of put the genie back in the bottle. We need to be really thoughtful about the intended and unintended consequences of our actions.
Lamb believes, given their size, it would be pretty easy to roll back the clock on woolly mammoths. Colossal is also working on bringing back the Tasmanian tiger. That could happen even earlier than the woolly mammoth. And while those extinct animals don't have a voice in being brought back, a tree in Western Mass is speaking to us via social media. As I found out, it has a lot to say. In the middle of a Peter Sam forest, this 87-foot northern red oak is both ordinary and remarkable. This tree looks like every other tree you've ever seen, except the tweets coming from the tree aren't from birds. Instead, its own Twitter account.
The tree really likes to talk about temperature, really hot days, really cold days. These are very meaningful for trees.
Clarice Hart is the director of outreach for Harvard Forest. She's part of a team that wired up this tree with all sorts of sensors. The data collected feeds into code to make the tree talk.
You have a sap flow sensor, which is showing you how liquid is moving up and down the tree. You have a growth sensor, which is monitoring growth in real time. The sensors are continuously running, helping us understand, is there a heat wave? Is there a really big rain event? These are all momentous things for trees.
During our latest long heat wave, the tree was as fed up with the heat as you and me. The last 2 days were extremely hot for August. When is this heat wave going to end? It tweeted.
This tree has a really objective lens to say, actually, this is really extreme compared to what I used to see 50 years ago.
An onlooker to years of weather, it tweets under the account A Witness Tree. This is about a 100-year-old tree. Mm-hmm. It's seen some stuff.
It has.
What are some of the big events that this tree has seen?
Yeah, so it's seen a big hurricane in 1938, which downed some of its neighbors. So we can see evidence of that in the tree, because the tree grew a little more that year because suddenly it didn't have neighbors. We can see evidence of a moth called the spongy moth that in the 1980s really devastated a lot of trees, but this tree stayed strong. This is a very resilient tree.
And now it has a voice to be able to share that.
Exactly, and it always surprises us.
At a time when New England is losing 65 acres of forest per day to development, other witness tree projects are sprouting, including this one in Cambridge, installed a few months ago.
My colleague Tim Rademacher, his vision is an internet of trees. So many, many trees with many, many voices. We can learn a lot in real time from having trees connected to sensors.
And even with a growing chorus of tweeting trees, this tree, it'll always be special to Hart.
I love this tree. So this tree is just an incredible emblem of strength and resilience, and I think it's wise. And it's amazing to be able to hear this tree sharing its wisdom with us.
What is the legacy that this tree will leave after you and I are gone?
Absolutely. So this tree has already, predated our grandparents, and it will be here after our grandkids are gone. I think that we can be humbled by that longevity. Trees will keep being witnesses, keep being resilient far into the future. So we have to take care of them.
Still ahead, could the world's first liquid metal battery be the key to our greener future? A Marlboro company is very close to delivering its first ever liquid metal battery. Its inventor, an MIT professor, says it could lead the charge to a new generation of green energy.
We want to have a battery that allows you to draw electricity from the sun even when the sun doesn't shine.
That was the challenge MIT electrochemistry professor Donald Sadoway gave to himself. Now, 2 decades after that light bulb moment, a company he co-founded, Ambri, will deliver their first liquid metal battery to a customer within a year.
It's been a long journey.
A journey that took Sadoway's idea to the pages of Time magazine and to the Colbert Report.
Please welcome Donald Sadoway. Is this going to replace what we're using now?
Yes.
Is that a pipe dream?
A battery never been done before, but now no longer a pipe dream. Within a casing, 2 metal alloys, calcium and antimony, are separated by a molten salt. By heating the cell to 500 degrees Celsius, the resulting electrochemical process allows electricity to be stored or discharged.
Nobody wants electricity that's green but doesn't work after dark. I mean, it's precisely after dark that you want your lights on.
What the professor means is, lithium ion is really the only solution right now to store solar energy for use after the sun sets. But that can be dangerous and is also very expensive.
If you think about the typical lithium ion cell, you'd need millions and millions of those.
Having no battery at all means wasting the excess solar or wind energy you gather. This grid-level storage project has some big backers to the tune of over $200 million. The first to give a big boost, none other than Bill Gates.
New approaches, like the liquid metal approach, may be the answer.
This is the line that we have that we've been using to establish and build our first cells.
Some of that seed money going to scale the production. COO Jim Pruitt took me on a tour of the Ambri facility in Marlboro. You're going to stretch thousands of these together, 1,000 of these together,
yes,
into a shipping container.
Right.
And that's going to power or help to store some of the energy
Absolutely.
That we gather from the solar panels.
Yes, exactly.
Within 3 years, Pruitt says they hope to build 1,000 of these shipping container-sized batteries. What do projects like this one, the innovation, what does that do for the future of green energy?
Well, it's required for green energy. I think this technology, if we're able to really drive it, will be one of the major changes for what we need to do for all of our futures.
While Ambri is inventing this technology, another Massachusetts company has been using tried and true methods for the last 50 years to generate green energy. First Light Power is owner-operator of Northfield Mountain Facility, the largest battery in New England. This facility can generate up to 1,168 megawatts. That accounts for about 10% of the total New England grid usage, enough for 1 million homes. Keep in mind, this facility is built in the middle of a mountain. The tunnel in is a half-mile long. WBZ got an exclusive tour of their bat cave housing their large turbines. These are what essentially power 10% of New England. Alicia Barton, CEO of First Light Power, tells me the Commonwealth is paving the way for the rest of the country.
Massachusetts is a national leader in combating climate change and adopting clean energy. That's the good news for us who live here and for the region. As much as climate change can be scary and it is an existential threat, when you focus on solutions and bringing people together to solve problems, that's just really exciting.
Still ahead, using music to bring change, singer Raffi and his quest to turn fans towards climate advocacy.
WBZ's Eye on Earth is brought to you by Safety Insurance. We'll help you manage life's storms.
Down by the bay, let me hear you, where the water must go.
Chances are you or your kids grew up listening to the sounds of Raffi sing Down by the Bay or Baby Beluga. Well, Raffi is still making music, but he's also focusing his efforts on a different cause, climate change awareness.
Climate emergency.
You need climate emergency responders.
Ring, 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 banana phone.
Unavailable on Banana Phone, I spoke to Raffi over Zoom at his home in British Columbia, Canada, a region impacted over the last few years with intense heat waves and expansive wildfires.
Summer shouldn't be a season that you dread. Summer should be a period that we look forward to. It's not just a future thing, climate change. It's with us.
Raffi points to a moment back in 1989 when Canadian environmentalist David Suzuki did an in-depth radio broadcast about global warming.
The environment in many ways is being ravished very rapidly.
When I heard that unless we took action, things might get to a point where the warming might be irreversible, that word irreversible sent shudders through me. I responded with my whole self.
And in the years since, he stepped up his efforts to reach what he calls his beluga grads.
Tens of millions have grown up singing my songs.
'Cause your friends are my friends.
That's a pretty big pool to reach out to, and I do my best on social media and in other ways to reach out to them.
Raffi is part of a growing ensemble of artists using their music to inspire change. Take, for instance, Ludovico Eunadi, an Italian pianist who performed his piece Elegy for the Arctic on a floating platform on the Arctic Ocean. World-renowned cellist and Cambridge resident Yo-Yo Ma has also undertaken a pledge for climate change awareness.
If we are going to succeed in our goal of creating change for the climate, we actually have to achieve more than action, but we actually have to change hearts and minds.
We really enjoyed your music. Thank you.
Changing those hearts and minds may start with the philosophy that Raffi calls child honoring.
Why do you think that love for kids is so powerful that it can literally change the world?
Because it changes us. When we have a child, we're changed. We would give our lives for the well-being of this child. So love is a prime motivator, and I think it can be a wonderful balance to the fear that we might feel about, the changes in climate that we're experiencing.
Cause this climate emergency.
But in the crescendo of climate data pointing to a warming future, Raffi is optimistic about our youth's energy.
When I'm asked about hope, here's what I say. I say, my hope is action. Action holds hope. Inaction does not.
It is vitally important to continue to educate, empower, and encourage our next generation to get involved. Now, here in Massachusetts, we are so lucky to live in an area, a gorgeous area at that, filled with experts that day in and day out work to improve our lives to this change. But change starts with us, you and me, our families and our homes. We have to take the torch to steward in a healthy planet for our kids and our grandkids. Climate change is not going away. The good news is there's still time to make a difference. Our team here at WBZ will continue to dig for answers, ask those difficult questions, and highlight those in our communities who are making a difference. Thank you for joining me on this WBZ Climate Change Special. I'm meteorologist Jacob Wycoff, wishing you all blue skies.